All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Little San Francisco Giants talk tonight regarding, well, talk about salary dump, or was it for something else with Taylor Rogers? Talk about where the team's heading. Are going to make any changes? Are they going to go with what's out there? We'll talk a little bit about what KNBR, Murph, and Marcus putting out their starting lineup for the San Francisco Giants. I have some comments on that. Matt Chapman in the 4-hole. Wow. All right, guys. Welcome on in. Show is sponsored by, who's it sponsored by? Chapman. That's right. Chapman Law Group, not to be associated with or confused with Matt Chapman, but Chapman Law Group in Marin, licensed in all of Northern California. Give them a call if you need any assistance regarding legal matters. They will help you out. Whether it's a personal injury case, an eviction, or just some documents, give Chapman Law Group a call. They're located, or their phone number, I should say, is 415-613-9483. All right, and we will get to our other sponsor later in the show. Maura, you want to kill that? Let's see.
All right.
There we go. All right, guys, welcome on in. Should be a little fun here. We're talking San Francisco Giants yesterday. They traded Taylor Rogers, and they got, I don't know who they got. I don't even know if it matters. They gave away $6 million, so they're probably, who knows what. Did we get any report on who the guy was, what he does, what he's like in the minors, anything?
I saw something that said he had like a 5 ERA last year with some minor league level. I don't even know what level that was, but that's all I saw.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, Hiroku, exactly. Manias, I've said that. He was mentored by Farhan. In fact, what concerns me about this Giants team, guys, is Maniason came over from Milwaukee in 2019. He was the guy that was responsible for the major league roster of knowing all the players in the majors and the minors. So all that dumpster diving that we got on Farhan was, I'm sure that Maniason was giving him the names first, because Farhan's the president of baseball ops. You know, it's kind of like when the president of the United States is coming out and putting a speech together. You think the president wrote that speech? He's got speech writers, and it's just like the president of baseball ops. He doesn't have time to be scouring through everything. He's got every aspect of the team he's over. So it's the gremlins that are doing the work. And so Maniason, however you say it, he was Farhan's guy to go out and know everything about every minor leaguer. And I'm starting to wonder. I really am, guys. What do you think?
I'm not going to say anything towards Maniason just because he's had the job for like a couple months. It does make sense though, because he was kind of Farhan's guy. And I guarantee, I mean, as much of a micromanager as Farhan was, he wasn't doing everything. He wasn't doing the scouting. He wasn't looking at everybody in every system's stats and everything. I don't think he was, at least. So he had to have someone that was doing that, and that's probably Maniason. I mean, I'm fine with it though, just because he's not the head guy. He's the assistant GM, and if he can continue to find guys like Yaz, I mean, from as much hate that we give Yaz, I mean, that was a good pickup. They got Yaz for virtually nothing, and he's been a solid player. He's been an average player. But I mean, to be able to pick him up for nothing, I'd say it's a pretty good get. And I don't know if he was one of the guys that got Lamont Wade, but I mean, that was a pretty good get for the amount that they gave up. So these guys that aren't stars, they aren't. I mean, I don't even know if they're quality starters. They're just on the team. I think they're valuable to a team in a depth position. If he continues to do that, I'm fine with it as long as these guys aren't being propped up to be the starter.
Yeah, what do you think, Lou?
A couple things. I think one of the things when Farhan came in, we've lost probably 3 guys that were probably more important with the Giants organization that we realized. One, of course, became the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, David Bell, who, ran really the minor leagues, and a lot of the guys we have now from the minor leagues, he was probably responsible. So I think that was a huge loss. And then we had 2 executives. One of the reasons why we had so many trades with Seattle is we had a former mentor who worked in the Giants front office up in Seattle. And if you look at the main guy for the Detroit Tigers, right now, he's formerly with the San Francisco Giants. So I think these guys probably saw what Farhan was doing, said, you know what, I have a chance for a fresh start to go to different places. And if you look right now, Seattle's better than us and Detroit's better than us. They both have youth. They have, a superstar. And I think it's something that maybe when we look back on, God, maybe we let the wrong guys go. And with Niasen, I think we have the wrong brother. I don't know what's in the blood, but his brother hasn't been too successful. As you know, he's also a general manager. So, it's sort of one of those things. One of the things I've been complaining about is we get all these people because they're from the Bay Area. Who cares? Who cares if they're from the Bay Area? What does that mean? They get free rent because they got a place to stay? We need people that can do the job that are good. It's just like ball players. We go after these guys that were good 8 years ago. Okay, well, that doesn't do anything for me. I need a guy that's good now. And I think the other thing about the Giants, and Dan, you brought this up, it's all about just being safe. Just being safe. And, to tell you the truth, I'm sort of sick and tired of being safe. Unless you're on the Giants payroll where you have to say how good we're going to be, all these other guys are just basically lying. Lie to a girl when you're 10 years old, 12 years old, 14. But, nowadays we hear the same stuff from the Giants, just excuses. It's sort of pathetic.
Are you saying the Giants are chicken?
I think they're very chicken. I think they're chicken just to actually do something outside the box. If you go to, when you bring up Ned and those guys, they took chances. Even though the fans maybe at first said, what the hell are you doing? It got us results. It made us a better team. The Giants, we've been sort of stagnant. Even in 2021, what did we do to improve the team? Really nothing. We got very lucky, had a great year, and we were very established. But 22, 23, we never really picked up anyone big. We tried to get someone good, but of course, we never could. We don't really have any closers when it comes to getting the big numbers. And just a lot of excuses, Farhan. Oh, we were close. Yeah, we were close. 6 out of 7 teams. That's not close. Do you ever see the Dodgers were going after someone, not getting somebody? We just have a big problem. And, last but not least, and I'll let you go, Dan, is, when you hear all these interviews, when Buster got hired, I'm going to make a difference. Okay. I know it's only the first year, but when he spoke with Alex saying, hey, we're really happy. We're going to play the young, after it's, when they made the trade yesterday, Alex got him and interviewed him. Oh, I believe in what we have in the minors, our youth. We have nothing in the minors. Why would Buster say something like that? And then last, when you get people like Larry Bear for 8 straight years saying, oh, we got a good team, we're going to be good. Somehow he says we're going to win 95 games. I guess he doesn't go to the games anymore because he doesn't see the product. And being the CEO of a company, you should know the product that you put on the field.
Yeah. That 21 season you mentioned, they did get kind of lucky. They got breakout campaigns from guys like Darren Ruff, Lamont Wade Jr., Donovan Solano. Of course, Belt and Crawford had great years. Posey had a really solid, good year. There was just everything seemed to go right. Yaz was doing good for the first part of the year. And then, you had the breakout campaign by DeSclafani, and Gosman pitched well, and then Webb came on late. Everything just was kind of magical that year. And there's just, they'd plug in a guy and he would have a game-winning hit or whatever. It's just
Everything worked. Everything
worked. And sometimes sports is that way. You get momentum, you start believing in yourself, things go your way. All of a sudden there's confidence. But the Giants right now, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the situation on X where the KMBR guys put out their lineup. All right. I commented on it. Let me see if I can find it here. All right. I will do this without sound just to.
If it's on Twitter, you can do sound, I think.
I don't know if you can or not. Maybe. Can we?
And Dan, what the best part about it, and I know we're going to go over it, not one, but two platoons. Two platoons at two different positions.
Yeah.
That really gets me excited for the season.
Can I do the sound on this? You think?
I don't know. Just zoom in. Let's play it safe for now.
Yeah, let's.
Is it Luis Matos? Is it
hold on.
Chad Bailey?
Hold on.
Is it Bailey?
I think.
All right, let me get the sound off. There we go.
And Dan, this is their projected lineup, right? That they want to see, or is that they heard that
this is theirs? This is
okay.
This is theirs. Okay, so we're going without sound right now, but they got Jung-Hoo Lee. Obviously, you guys can see that. Willie Adames batting second, and then Ramos third. So far, I'm okay with the top three. It's when they start at 4 and 5. It's like, what are you thinking?
Bailey cannot be batting fifth. That cannot happen.
This cannot happen. And then, they're going with Encarnacion at DH, and then they're like, well, where do we put 7? They got Yaz Matos in the platoon. And, Wade's going to lead off according to Melvin. So that's what it's going to be. But they've got Wade Flores down here in a platoon 7 and 8, and then they stuck Fitzgerald in at 9. I don't have a problem with Fitzgerald 1 or 9 because it does give you a little bit of that double leadoff guy with speed. So I'm okay with that. But I want to show you guys the actual comment that I did. I put out here in response to this. Let me see if I can pull that up again. Wow. Hold on. My mouse. Okay. So here's my response to this. Can you guys, is it still up there, Bora?
Yep. We can see it.
So my response is nothing against Murph and Marcus, as there's not much to work with here, but this lineup is atrocious. 8 of the 9 guys they have in the lineup have K rates over 20%, many over 25%. Chapman on a good team is batting 6th or 7th at best. The fact that he's hitting cleanup and is in 8 seasons has over 80 RBIs once is alarming. He did it in 2019 in the juice ball season. The reason the Giants will struggle to score runs with runners in scoring position is because they all, with the exception of Jung-Hoo Lee, strike out way more than the league average. And guys, you have any, is this a lineup that is just pretty much the same as last year with the exception of Adames replaces Conforto?
It is. If you're just looking at the lineup on paper and the guys that you have on paper, it's not a great lineup. I think Chapman cannot hit fourth. Your 4 hitter has to be one of your main RBI guys. And like you said in your tweet, Dan, Chapman's had 80 RBIs one time, and that was in the juice ball season. So I don't know if we want to count that or not. But even last year, he had 76 RBIs, I want to say? 78, I think it was. Yeah, you cannot have 78 RBIs from your cleanup hitter. That cannot happen. You need your cleanup hitter. On a playoff team, your cleanup hitter has to have at least 100 RBIs. Willie Adames would be a good cleanup hitter. He had, I think, 110, north of 110 RBIs last year. He would be a good cleanup hitter. I don't get the fixation with batting Jung-Hoo Lee first. I get it. He's a center fielder. He's speedy. But when he gets on base, he can't steal. He doesn't know how to steal. He's not a base stealer. So what's the point of him batting leadoff? I would like to see Tyler Fitzgerald bat leadoff, because when he gets on base, he's actually a threat to steal second and steal third. Lamont Wade Jr. batting leadoff is a disaster waiting to happen. He gets on base there's one time, or there's one way he gets on base, is that he walks. He walks a good amount, and he can work a count. He strikes out way too much. He doesn't hit for power at all. I mean, he can hit a single, but I mean, Lamont Wade is he's a bench bat. He's a platoon bench bat. And if Melvin's saying that he's going to be the leadoff hitter, that I don't get that at all, because if let's just say he walks, let's just say he walks first. How is he getting to second? I mean, he's not stealing. And then if you have Adames second, who hits into a lot of double plays, I mean, that's an automatic double play waiting to happen. If you have Fitzgerald leading off, Fitzgerald can get on base and steal second. Posey has mentioned, I don't know if it was on the radio or an interview or what, he wants to get Tyler Fitzgerald going. He wants Tyler Fitzgerald to steal. Tyler Fitzgerald should be batting leadoff, in my opinion. I would like Jung-Hoo Lee batting second, because Lee has the bat control to place it wherever he wants. With Fitzgerald first and Lee second, you can mess around with hit and runs. You can mess around with sacrifice bunts. Lee has that bat control to be able to place it wherever he wants. And if Fitzgerald gets on base, he steals second. Lee hits a ground ball to the right side. You have runner at third with one out, and Willie Adames up or Elliot Ramos up. I mean, that's I'm not going to say that's an automatic run, but that's you're getting your players in good situation. I just don't, and it's not a great lineup. I'm just trying to make the best case scenario. And we'll talk about Pete Alonso a little later, but that would be the perfect guy, the perfect cleanup hitter in this lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. We will talk about that. Thanks to Jeff being a member for 6 months. Murph and Marcus weren't excited about the lineup. They were just speculating. Yeah, I get it. That's why I said I'm not dogging on them. They're just trying to put out content and come up with something to talk about. I get it. You know, there's something here that's interesting, and this has got me thinking. Mark Doherty says this. Bear says, don't worry about the Dodgers are doing. F.U. Bear, 12 straight playoff appearances and 4 pennants, while we have only had back-to-back playoff years one time since they headed west. And I started thinking about it. You know what? The only time the Giants went to the playoffs 2 years in a row was 2002 when they went to the World Series, and then they followed it up with 2003, Felipe Alou's first year when they won 100 games, and then they lost to Florida, the JT Snow getting thrown out by 87 feet round. It's like, but that's right, Mark. Since 1958, when the Giants came west from New York, they've made the playoffs in consecutive years only once. How many years is that? That is over 60. Well, I'm born in 61 and I'm 63. So that's 66 years. They did it twice. That's laughable. You got to be kidding me. I bet you the Colorado Rockies, somebody check that for me. Can somebody check that for me while we're talking? Have the Colorado Rockies ever made the playoffs 2 years in a row? They went to the World Series in 2007, I believe. Did they make it in 2006 or 2008? Be curious, because the Giants, to do that in 66 years. Lou, you've been a season ticket holder since they came west, your family. What do you make of that?
I was actually going to, I heard about that on MLB Network. They talked about it, saying how inconsistent it is, how we were every other year, where something happened. It's, it's very bizarre, and I think being a real fan, you realize how frustrated it is, because as growing up, the divisions were different. We had the big red machine. Cincinnati was with us. The Dodgers controlled us. We were happy. And I think the Giants have sort of gotten back in because 3 and 5 years, they're happy that we're close to being 500. We talk like the Pittsburgh Pirates, right? Pittsburgh, we got a beautiful stadium. We'll do 2 million people. But now Pittsburgh's at least taking steps forward. We're stagnant. We're all safe. I think one thing about Bora is I thought, Bora, that's perfect. I would love to move down the lineup one more time, have Fitzgerald lead. The other thing is they want Bailey. People forget he's a switch hitter. And the majority of them, if they bring up a lefty, he can't bat right. He strikes out way too much. He doesn't make good contact. The left is his natural side. I could see him batting like 6 from the left side, but you don't want him. The other problem is you got guys that are going to strike out so much. Why would you pitch to Adames if you have a runner at third with 1 out? You got Chapman up next, right? He's going to strike out on a pitch outside. And then there's not much. The other thing about this team, where I see teams like the Reds and all them, they're all athletic. We're sort of missing the athletes. We have guys that, we just don't have the athletes. And I think that all comes down to not scouting, but drafting, And again, we've heard this many years. Oh my God, the Giants got this guy. We got this superstar. It's like the new superstar to come up played both ways. Now we're saying, hey, just be a hitter, right? Work on your defense, but it's just come to the point now where I think the Giants have sort of like missed an opportunity to be ahead of the game, and they're just being very stagnant, especially with that lineup. That doesn't scare anyone. That no. Lineup scares nobody. So when the pitchers come to town, it used to be you come to Oracle. Oh my God, the pitcher's advantage. Now pitchers are even going to dominate more. The other thing too is we're a year older. On MLB Network, they talked about the Giants. They said if Ramos does not have at least the same year as last year or an improvement, the Giants are probably going to lose 5 more games. So if you go from 80 to 75, that's how much pressure it is on a kid it's his second year when you really think about it. And, that's hard for a young guy with all the pressure, and these other guys don't show up. It's, it could get, and I've been saying this since the schedule came out, it could get very ugly very quickly.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this comment from Don? Ryan Brazier got released by the Dodgers. I'm sure they can still trade him. They may pull him back in, somebody who claims him or however that works, they work out a trade. But if he clears waivers, is he a guy the Giants would be interested in, or is he just another mid-arm for the Giants bullpen?
I don't think the Giants have any use for him. He's a righty, right?
He's a righty. They need a lefty now.
Lou, I was going to bring that up. Lou, that was a great point that you made on that video, with you and Dan reacting to the Rodgers trade. They have one lefty now. Eric Miller is it. And the thing about Taylor Rodgers, I heard this from somewhere, is that he had reverse splits. So he was actually, last year he was actually better against righties than he was lefties, which is basically like he was another righty. So I think they do need another lefty and another right-handed arm that just got released. I don't think that helps them at all. They need to find some lefty to be able to bring in.
Career-wise, Rodgers is much better lefty on lefty, though. Yeah, just last year was kind of a fluke. But what do you guys think about this situation with the Giants? Buster, he may be, not showing his hand. He may be bluffing when he says he likes where they're at and he thinks their lineup's set. He's not going to say, well, we're still looking. Maybe he could say it. He could say, well, we may still add somewhere without giving away his hand. I mean, he's not going to come out and say, yeah, we'd really like to add at first base, because then that hurts him in negotiations if you're trying to go after Alonso. But to come out and say that we're set, we like the team where we're at. I mean, how do you not go out and grab a Pete Alonso when the team has never had anybody hit 30 home runs since 2004? The only team, by the way, in the major leagues without a 30-plus home run hitter in that time frame. And we saw that the Giants, not just the Giants, but the teams that hit 200 home runs last year all made the playoffs in baseball, with the exception of the Diamondbacks, and they actually tied for the last playoff spot, got eliminated by, tiebreakers. So they had 89 wins. So hitting 200-plus home runs, and the next team was 198, the Phillies, and they made it. The A's were 196. Obviously, they were terrible, but still, you hit 200-plus home runs, you definitely put yourself in line to be a playoff contender. Why would you not go out and get a guy that's sitting there that is not that expensive, wants opt-outs, and you know what? I look at it this way. Some people say, well, if he opts out, you lose the draft picks for signing him and you don't get anything because he opted out. But you know what? If he has a really good season and opts out and you made the playoffs and he opts out, is that not worth it? I mean, what's the thinking today? You have nobody that wants to come watch the team. They're boring as heck. Pete Alonso would be the most exciting thing in the lineup, probably. And I'm thinking as I say this, that would be the most interesting at bat for the home team since Barry Bonds. Am I wrong? Is there anybody that you would love to see, like, oh wait, Alonso's up, I might see a blast. I'll wait and go get my beer or Coke or hot dog or whatever after his at bat. Is there anybody that the Giants have had that was more of a threat to hit a home run since Bonds? Lou?
No, I mean, I think like guys like Rob Deere, we've missed it. We've missed it. But I mean, I look at the lineup with him in there and say we do what Boris says, have Fitzgerald. Look at him batting fourth, how much better that lineup is, where everyone moves down now. Now, Chapman, instead of batting fourth, is fifth. He's a little protection. Now you have Bailey move down. I mean, our lineup right now is probably getting him probably worth an extra half run a game. And as you know, the Giants had so many close games, and that's the key. The Giants is, when you add one guy, it makes other people better. Right now, this team is very average at best. We have a couple old guys that we hope, can come back. And, with Adonis too, you got to remember that last year was his money year. He was going to be a free agent year. Not all these guys, now that he's settled, has a big contract, we don't know how he's going to be. It's the same thing with Webb. Webb, first-time dad. His son is 3 months old. Opening day, it's going to be 6 months old. His priority, yes, he wants to be the Giants' ace, but now that he's a dad and a family man, everything changes in life. And I think the Giants got to stop being safe, and they got to do moves. And, one of the things I'm not going to listen to any of these guys on the Giants payroll because they all say the same thing. Larry Barrett, 95 wins. Buster, oh, we're very happy with the lineup. All these guys, oh, the Giants can be good. No, they're not. Okay. They're very, very average. So, me being a fan, I mean, I'm excited to go to a couple games, but I'm more excited this year for the first time in a long time for the visiting teams than the Giants. And that's what's scary.
Interesting. I want to get to a comment here. I need to pull something up first. Let me pull up the comment. It was from, where would it go? I think it was from Senior. Okay. He said he didn't want to come here, but we don't know that for sure. He says if he does a 1 year, he wants a hitter's park to pad stats. If he gets a long-term, he wants hitter's park to get 500. Now, take a look at this, though. Guys, I want to show you something here. And this is Pete Alonso. Bora, do you have a calculator handy? Bora?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So pull this up here. Here we go. All right. Here's his home runs by ballpark. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So take 103, divide that by 1746. Or wait, I think it's the opposite. I think it's 1746 divided by 103. 1746 divided by 103. Yeah, it's 1740. Do the plate appearances first, divide it by the home runs.
16.9.
16.95. Okay.
Yeah.
Now do Cincinnati. 71 divided by 5. That's a hitter's park.
Divided by 5. 14.2.
All right. Do Philadelphia, another hitter's park. 205 divided by 10. Oh, there it is. 20.5. That's pretty easy. Okay. Let me get another hitter's park. Coors Field. 66 divided by 6. That's
11.
11. Okay. Give me another hitter's ballpark.
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Where is Atlanta? 184. It's a division opponent divided by 6.
That's 30.6.
Okay. Give me Wrigley Field. 74 divided by 8.
It's 9.2.
That's the best so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, give me Arizona. That used to be a pretty good park. 67 divided by 4.
16.75.
All right, let's get some. How about Dodger Stadium? 80 divided by 7.
11.4.
All right, and Miami 184 divided by 12. That's pretty good.
15.3.
Okay, and Washington, another division opponent, 210 divided by 15.
14.
All right, now Oracle, 75 divided by 7.
10.7.
That's second best in all the teams we just did. And we included parks like Philadelphia, Cincinnati. You know what? Let's do Pittsburgh. That's a pretty good hitter's park. Pittsburgh, where are you? Gosh, where is Pittsburgh?
It's down there. It was down there. Right there.
Oh, 0. He hasn't hit one in 53 plate appearances. So, guys, he hits pretty well at Oracle Park is what I'm trying to tell you. He hits a home run, and it's a smaller sample size, but so are the other ones. The only ones that were pretty big were the division opponents like Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Washington. I mean, you got to say that Pete Alonso hits pretty darn well in Oracle Park. So why wouldn't you go after a guy that will get you 30 home runs and maybe get you into the playoffs? And you know what? Say, God bless you when you leave because you just helped us. And now we made the playoffs. Maybe now you can start getting some other players.
Pete Alonso would be a great get. And I've seen all these people online talking about, it'll cost draft picks and we don't want to give up draft picks. What have you done with those draft picks the past couple of years? You got Bryce Eldridge. That's one. I mean, James Tibbs, I'm not excited about James Tibbs. I don't think a lot of people are excited about James Tibbs. Walker Martin was their second round pick in the Eldridge draft. He's not looking like anything. I mean, a lot of these guys that they're picking aren't looking good. Will Bednar, I don't know if he's above Hunter Bishop. I mean, all of these guys that you've drafted in the first round, and I don't even know if getting Pete Alonso would mean you have to give up a first round pick.
No, it's a third. You've already given up a 2 and a 4 for Adames. I think it's a 3 and a 5.
Okay,
something like that.
Is that in the upcoming draft or is that?
Yeah, the next draft.
I mean, what have you done with the past drafts that would make you excited to have these draft picks? I mean, like the Rams said, F them picks. Just go after Pete Alonso and get this done. You have, after moving Taylor Rogers, you have $26 million left, roughly $26 million. You can get Pete Alonso for $26 million. You could probably get him for $25 million. That's the perfect. The Giants, Greg Johnson and Buster Posey, they've all said we want to stay under the CBT, which I can kind of respect. They don't necessarily think they're too good to be able to go all in and compete against the Dodgers and D-backs and these bigger teams, which I can respect. I mean, they're being honest about themselves, but you have $26 million left. And if you spend $25 million, it's not going to cost you anything because you're still under the CBT. Dan, we were talking about that the other day. Yesterday, was it? That if they stay under the CBT this year, then they avoid or they reset the tax bracket, right? It resets, and then they could potentially go all in next year. So why would you not go all in on Pete Alonso? And if it's going to be 27, 28, you can get rid of a Yaz. Yaz is taking up $9.5 million. You can ship off Yaz to the Red Sox and pay half that salary. and you can have plenty of room.
You'd have another 5 million at least.
Instead of a Yaz and Matos platoon, it could be a Matos and McRae platoon, because I'm done with the Yaz platoon. I'm just done with that.
Absolutely. Mark says if you keep getting international players, if you sign them, there's no draft for the international players. So just put a bunch of resources into relationships and building relationships and drafting, 3, 4 of the top. You supposedly got 3 of the top 30 this year. Why don't you improve on that and get 3 of the top 10 and really start building? That's how a lot of teams do this. Let me ask you guys this also in the chat. I want to just respond in the chat because we don't have the ability to do our poll right now because Ryan, who does them, knows how to do it, and he's not available tonight. Tell me in the chat how many years of pretty good productive years Matt Chapman has left. Okay. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? What do you think? He's 32, going to turn 32 this year. You tell me what Matt Chapman, how many productive years? Just put a number. All you got to do is put 1, 2, 3. You can put 0 as far as I'm concerned, if that's what you believe. But how many years do you have left of Matt Chapman to really give you some decent production? As you guys put that in the chat, the number 0 through 6, we'll wait for you guys to put that in. I'll tell you what I think. I think just based on Nolan Arenado, on other guys that turn 33, 34, it's Evan Longoria, we start to see a decline in the bat. Brandon Crawford. It just kind of happens. The bat speed starts to go. Now, Chapman might defy that, and he might be able to play really well for 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know, but I think 2 years is what I'm saying. You got peak Chapman, okay? Kind of what you had last year, which was a good season. So why would you waste one of those years like this year and just say, we're not ready to win? Does that make sense? Anybody?
It's the same thing with Stephen Curry. You got to do it now. Why not go for it?
Yeah, you're just, guys, when Father Time's undefeated, most players don't get that much better. Some guys do. Some guys are able to do it and produce. But, guys that hit well in their 40s, they're generally guys. What was a guy that played for the Twins that was in his 40s that was hitting 40 homers? I can't remember his name. The big right-handed slugger.
Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz. But you know what? He's a DH. Put him in the field and see how he does. Right? Matt Chapman plays a demanding position.
I think I agree with you, Dan. It's probably 2. 2's the safe answer. Maybe 3 if it plays out well. I think 3 is the max, though, is what you're going to get peak Matt Chapman. Right. Now, I think throughout his whole contract, he's going to be an above average defender. I don't think he's going to be this elite defender throughout his whole time, but he should be an above average defender, which is fine. The thing that kind of concerns me is he strikes out a lot, and I don't know if he's a power hitter, but he can hit for power with a low average. And the first thing to go is your power, your bat speed. I don't know if he can adjust well enough to supplement that power with base hits and doubles. I have a feeling once that power goes, his batting average is going to tank. It's going to be 210, 220, 200. It's just going to tank. And I mean, Dan, I completely agree with your point. It's like you got to go all in with Matt Chapman because he's 31 now.
He turns 32 in April.
Exactly. He turns 32 in April. So this is his 32-year-old season. And you have him for what, 5 more years?
5 after this. You got him for
5 after this.
6 years.
Yeah, the window is right now because the window is with Matt Chapman. It's also with Willie Adames, who you signed for 6 years. It was 6 years, right? Not 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Willie Adames is what, 29. So he has a couple years left. All these long-term contracts that you sign, you're signing for right now. You're not signing for 5, for 6, for 7 years. You're signing for right now. And it's kind of expected that those last 2 years on that contract are going to be not that they're not going to be productive. So you got to go in right now, and right now is the time.
Let me ask you guys this. Who's a better hitter? Chapman or Arenado?
Career or right now?
Just career.
Arenado.
Like a lot better, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, take a look at Arenado right here, guys. He's turning 34 this year. Let me show you what his production is done. You see the home runs he hit. Let's not count Colorado. I mean, you can, but 21, 34 in St. Louis, 30, 26, last year, 16. RBIs down. He had 635 plate appearances. It was his age 33 season. Basically, that yellow line is where Chapman's going to be this year at 32. Okay. So everything pretty much is showing a decline in Arenado year over year. It's starting, and it's not, it's basically his age. Is some stat. I mean, he had a pretty good year in 22 where he drove in 103 runs and 42 doubles, 30 homers. But then the next year, his OPS plus went from 151 to 108, now down to 101. I'm seeing a trend downward. Now, if you took a look and compared him to, let me find this here. If I can, where is it? Hold on, I passed it. I'm going to compare him to Matt Chapman, and you can see now Arenado. When did Arenado start playing? In 2013. So it's going to be skewed, the WAR and the hits and all that, because he's played quite a bit longer than, Chapman. But if I just compare I can just compare. Should I just compare last year, or should I compare?
Let's just compare the career. Let's just see what it looks like.
Let's see the career. All right. So here's the career numbers. And they're obviously, because there's more years, you can see the games, there's 600 plus more games. So that's like 4 seasons roughly? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So everything's going to be much higher. But the things that are more controllable, like you can look at batting average, that doesn't matter. On base percentage, slugging, OPS plus, pretty close there. But he's got him beat pretty badly in batting average and OPS. Slugging's a little bit more. I mean, you look at the Gold Gloves too. I mean, but even if you wanted to compare the RBIs, look at that. Let's say 6 seasons and Chapman averaged 75. Well, that's what? 304 seasons and another 150 and 2. So 450. So if you added 450 to Chapman's, he'd be at like 954. He's still a couple hundred roughly under Arenado. So, and I know Arenado's stats are a little bit inflated in Colorado, but if you look at the numbers in St. Louis, I think you can start to look at some of the other players. I mean, I can pull up more players. I mean, I think a good comp for Matt Chapman is actually a guy the Giants had, which was Evan Longoria. Pretty similar hitters, right? I mean, and if we pull up Longoria and look at his numbers, look at the age, and you'll see when they started to decline. It's just a matter of time. So here's Evan Longoria, and we look at his age 28, 2014, right there. Okay, so we've got 91 RBIs, 22 homers, pretty similar. Look at his 2016 season, 98 RBIs, 36 homers at age 30. And then he came to the Giants at 32. And you see everything kind of just starts to go down, right? And he had his best years like 30, from probably, well, his best years were in his early 20s, right? 23, 24, when he drove in 113 runs, hit 281, then hit 294. But then he pretty much tailed off after he came to San Francisco at age 32. You basically signed Chapman to the same type of deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Evan Longoria played 6 more seasons his last year with Arizona after age 32. This is what you got with Chapman. That's going to be age 32 through 37 with Chapman, and you see a pretty remarkable decline. Now, they're different players in the sense, they may take care of their bodies differently. Chapman may be more durable, all of that. But the point of it is, guys, is you have a couple of peak years, like Boris said, maybe 3 at best. Why are you throwing away one of the years where you're just saying, we're good? We're good with 4th place. Explain that one to me, Lou.
Well, the one thing I see is, first of all, it's not that we signed him for 6 years, it's how much money. Longoria, I think people gave him crap because I think his best year he was making $18 million, right? But then he took a salary cut when he went to Arizona. I sort of think of McCutchen, who was another Giant at one time who we traded for. He's still playing for Pittsburgh, but the big difference is he did 1-year contracts. This year he's making $4.7 million. Okay, he's 38 years old. $4.7 million is a lot different than $26 million. And, when we bring this up, Chapman has always been solid. He's always been known for his defense, but his best power was when he was with the A's, when he was in the American League. Okay, he's now with us. I'm thinking maybe 2+, which is 2 good offensive years and maybe 3 defensive, right? But here's the problem. He has no trade clause, and we're still going to have him 3 more years after that. And at $26 million, maybe in 6 years, $26 million looks cheap, but right now it's on the books. He makes a lot of money for not much production. Now, if the Giants had 4 golden arms and we needed Chapman's defense, that'd be great, but we don't have 4 golden arms. We maybe, right now, we have Webb. Everybody else is sort of a question mark. We still don't have a first baseman, so it doesn't just add up. But I think Dan brings up a great point. If you're going to, again, it goes back to what lane we're in. If you're going to have Chapman for 2 years, and we don't know about Adames either, say in 3 years, you got to do something in the next 3 years, or you're going to waste 3 years and you're not going to move above 4th. So I think, we have 2 guys we got to worry about. Plus, how do we know Chapman, now that he's guaranteed 6 years, $150 million, is going to be like he was last year, where he could have opted out, and again, it was a free agent year. That's something that I don't think we talk enough. These ball players, when they're in their last year of their contract, they're thinking of the future. They do whatever it takes to be successful. They're dealing with agents. They're doing whatever they can. And, once they sign, that's when it sort of starts getting haywire. Because Chapman, we expect on this type of level, we don't know what we're going to get. I mean, what do you think, Bora?
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's probably 2, maybe 3 good years. But one of the other things I like about Chapman is he plays a lot, and he plays pretty much every day, which is valuable. That's a good asset to have. I think Willy Adames is kind of the same way. So I kind of think that's one of their philosophies that they've kind of implemented, is being able to play every day and being available every day. So, what is that phrase? The best ability is availability. So that's valuable. I do think, though, Chapman can't be relied upon as the 4-hitter. He can't be your best offensive hitter. He just can't. He can be on a playoff team, on a World Series contender. He can be the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th best hitter, and he didn't need to have any pressure on him. He can just be that extra guy. But right now and last year, he was their best offensive hitter. and that just cannot happen. He cannot be your best player, cannot be your best offensive hitter. So I mean that's one of the other reasons why I think they need to go after Pete Alonso, because if you can get Pete Alonso, then you have Pete Alonso, you have Willy Adames, you have Elliot Ramos, and you have Matt Chapman. That's a pretty good.
That's a formidable lineup.
That's a pretty good lineup. I mean, let's just put that together. Let's just say Fitzgerald leads off, Lee bat second.
Yeah, let's put our lineup together, Bora.
All right, I'm gonna put my lineup together, and then you guys can go.
All right.
I'm gonna put Fitzgerald 1, Lee 2, Adames 3, Alonso 4, Ramos 5, Chapman 6, Yaz/Matos platoon 7.
Yes, get me out of here, Yaz, please.
Bailey 8, and then who's DH? Whoever the DH is, Luciano and Encarnacion, whoever that is, 9.
All right. You want to go, Lou, or you want me to go next?
No, I think that's a very solid lineup. I think, the whole is we still don't have a DH. I think the one good thing about Alonso is, and what you brought up is, you would then have 4 studs that play every day. Ramos, Alonso, Adames, and Chapman. Then I don't mind, maybe one platoon, in of the 9, because again, like I said, Bailey, he can't bat right-handed. He's not solid. Left hand, he's a stud. I love when he bats left. When he bats right, it's just sort of stagnant. So you'd have 4 guys that would play every day that you could count on, which is a key. Hopefully no injuries. But I think that's one of the things. The Giants got in such a routine with the platooning. You never knew who was going to start. You never knew until Kruk and Kipe gave the lineup. Which is frustrating for a fan, and it also goes back to when Dan, used to go to games. You fell in love with the guys because you knew they were going to be there every game. You fell in love with like Darrell Evans because you knew he'd play third or first, but he was always in the lineup. You knew he was going to try. And I think that's sort of the one thing the Giants are lacking is consistency. Give the fans a product that you can love, and give me players that you can actually fall in love with and, adore. But I thought, Bora, your lineup's perfect. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, what did Anthony Santander, do we know what he signed for? Let me look. What was his contract?
$590.
Did he get an opt-out after 1 or 2 years? What was his deal?
I thought it was 5 for 90, and I think after the 3rd year he has an opt-out. But we couldn't afford that.
590, and then the Blue Jays could void the 3rd year opt-out with a 6th year.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Now it's water.
18 million. We couldn't do that.
Yeah,
right.
Water under the bridge. I would have given him whatever 21, 22 just to get him to San Francisco, because he is really what you needed in this lineup. You don't have a guy that can hit from the left side on this team other than Lamont Wade, and is that it? Bailey. That's it. Yaz. Forget Yaz. I don't want Yaz. Okay. So here's my lineup. I am going to go. Man, this is a bad team. I'm trying to think of a way to do something different than Bora, to put somebody up and lead off, and there's just nothing there. But I will, for the sake of, I can't find anybody out there I'm thinking of to add to the team. So I'm going to go leading off. I'll do what Bora does. I'll put Fitzgerald. Second, I will go with, I would have went with Anthony Santander, or maybe fourth, but we can't get him. So second, we'll go with Lee. Third, Adames. Fourth, Alonso. Fifth, Ramos. Sixth, I'm going with Matos. Seventh, I'm going with Do we have a DH yet?
No, it's
All
I
right.
don't even. No one knows who the DH is.
All right,
gonna be.
I am going with Luciano. I'm putting Marco in there 7th. 8th, I'm putting in. Who else have I missed?
First base.
Yeah, 8th. I guess I'm going with. I guess 7th. I'll go Wade. Where did I have Bailey at? Oh, 9th.
I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, 7th. I'm going Wade. 8th. I'm going Luciano. 9th. I'm putting Bailey. How's that? So Fitzgerald, Lee, Adames, Alonso 4, 5 was Ramos, 6. Oh, I missed Chapman, I think.
No, you got Chapman 6.
6. Chapman 6.
Oh yeah, you did miss Chapman because you said
did miss
Matos
Chapman.
6.
Yeah,
So
you know what? I'm putting Chapman. I'll put Chapman 7th. Seriously.
You're gonna hit Matos above him.
Yeah, Matos hits the ball and drives in runs when guys are on base. I'm putting Chapman 7th. 8th, I'm putting Wade. And I guess 9th is Bailey. I don't know. But I'm getting Matos in that lineup because everybody else strikes out except Jung-Hoo Lee. Matos has at least he makes contact. And the one thing that stops rallies with runners in scoring position is strikeouts and double plays. And Chapman does a lot of those. Oh, the other thing I would have done, guys, if I didn't have Matos in there, I would be trading for Luis Robert, and I'd put him in center field, and I'd move Matos over to, or Ramos over, or I mean Lee. I'd move Lee over to right field.
Really?
I think he'd be good in right field.
I don't know that I would trade for Luis Robert to be my center fielder. I might trade if the price was right. I might trade for Luis Robert to be my DH because he's injury prone. He's very injury prone, and I bet him not playing the field would allow him to just focus on hitting, and that would probably help his health. Right?
Hold on, I gotta check this dog.
Okay. Lou, would you agree with that?
That's a very good point. The other thing too is I know we keep talking about Alonso. What about, especially now that it's getting late, where you can do the opt-outs? What about Bregman? Signing Bregman, putting him at second, and maybe have Fitzgerald at first. Just getting someone that can make contact, that can make, because
I like that, Lou.
Yeah, so you can make the lineup, adding one of these two guys, and especially with Fitzgerald, maybe, at first, I'm just not a fan of our first baseman. I don't care. But you get someone like him, it's another contact bat, someone that can maybe hit 25 to 30 homers. He doesn't strike out a lot, but he's also a gamer. If we're not going to get guys that are athletic, we need gamers. He's been through hell and back. He's been on a team that was told you guys cheated to win the World Series, but he's made the big dance 4 times. He knows what it takes. If we're going to get Verlander, who's 42, and we're really thinking, hey, hopefully he can have maybe one more good year, but he's great in the clubhouse. Bregman's been through it all. He knows how it's going to be when it's going to be chaotic down in LA. He knows when he plays at Seattle because he's done that being a Houston Astro. Especially with all this money that we have, why not sign him for 3 years with an opt-out? I just think it's something that
I really
different.
like that idea, Lou, because now you get another ball player in there, another hitter, and you get a guy who, and Fitzgerald could play first base. He's tall enough. How tall is Fitzgerald? He's like 6'2", 6'3".
Let me look that up.
And he's played shortstop, so I think he can scoop the ball.
He's 6'3".
Yeah, that's a good target.
I like the idea of Alex Bregman, but I don't like the idea of Tyler Fitzgerald at first, just because I think you're kind of wasting his athleticism. Because he might be your most athletic player on the field. he might be.
Well, where would you put him if you bring Bregman? Don't you think? Because you can't. Chapman's not going to move. Adamas isn't going to move. So I just really moved him to second, and then tried to find a place. Unless he can play outfield.
I would go with Dan's original idea and have him be the Chris Taylor. Just have him move around every day. Every day he plays a different position. He can give Yaz a rest. He can give Lee a rest. He can give Ramos a rest. He could give Bregman a rest at second. I mean, Fitzgerald can play left, center, right, first, second, third, and short. He can play 7 positions out of the 9. That's valuable. A utility guy, a super utility man, is really valuable. So if I like the Bregman idea, I might like that more than the Alonso, because Alonso brings the power, but he strikes out a lot and he doesn't have the high average. Bregman doesn't strike out a lot. He hits about 25 homers and he makes contact and he has a decent average. I like the Bregman idea, and Bregman also plays almost every day. So
13.3%, Bora, his K rate. Bregman.
Yeah,
that would be really good.
And Bregman's an elite defender.
All right, guys, I'm done for the day. I came up with another winner. That's 2 on 1 show, so I'm done. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, good, Lou. I got to go, too. I got to go check on my dog. I'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah, Bora, we got to think outside the box to try to improve the team. And, I think now that, we're almost in February, I think the player pitchers and catchers, I think it's February 13th for the Giants. These guys are going to start getting desperate, sort of like what happened with Snell and Chapman last year, where, maybe you can get them, for, $25 million, sign them 3 years, 25 and defer some, so it doesn't affect you. It's just, I think we need guys that are actually professional hitters, and, he's done that. So, I know Dan loves Alonso, but I think Alonso, it's really sort of passed him by. That's just me. Because let me ask you this, Bora. When you think of Alonso, if you take away the playoff homer, which was one of the biggest homers, clutch, I agree. Do you think he had that good a year?
No, I don't think he had a great year at all. I mean, he had the home run numbers, but let me pull up his numbers right now. And I can show everybody.
I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, but I thought it was sort of a down year for him. Now, again, it's your contract year. It's the last year of a contract. Adamas, kicked ass, took names. He might have felt the pressure. You're in New York. It's a lot different than being anywhere else. But, I just think, the last couple of years, he's been sort of lacking.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so this year, he played all 162 games. He had 34 homers. He only had 88 RBIs. I mean, look at the RBI totals the previous 2 years, 131 and 118, and then that's 88. He strikes out
especially
a lot.
With 34 bombs. That's pretty awful.
The batting average, I don't like that batting average. 217 the previous year, and then 240 this past year. I mean, he had 34 homers, but in 788 OPS. I mean,
Who's this?
This is Pete Alonso from this
okay.
past. It's just not. It's not like. It's not star.
And then put up Bregman, Bora. Let's just see what
let me pull up
Bregman.
Bregman.
Bregman, thanks.
Whoa, get out of here! You're gonna knock over the whole mic.
2 more days for Bo and the Cone.
Yeah. All right. Here's Bregman. So look at the batting average. It's very consistent. 2021 270, 22 259, 23 262, and last year 260. I mean, what is league batting average right now? 240. So that's consistent. 23 homers in 22, 25 and 23 and 26 last year. Only the 75 RBIs though, which is, I don't know what it is with these players and having down RBI years. He played in 145 games. Look at the walks though. That's a little intriguing. The strikeouts stayed the same, but the walks were cut in half. He had 87 and 22, 92 and 23, and then 44 last year. I don't know what that's about.
But wasn't he batting like second? Because remember, Houston's lineup is sort of unique. They got the little guy leading off. I thought he batted like second because they have that huge guy batting fourth. So, sometimes,
Alvarez.
yeah. I mean, someone, we never get someone of that
Mhm.
magnitude. But,
I think
I'm just, trying to come up with something different.
I like it a lot. And Bregman, you could probably give Bregman the Matt Chapman contract and he might accept that. And what you could do is, and I'm pretty sure this works, is if you defer some money, that deferred money doesn't go into the CBT tax. So I think let's say you sign Bregman for the Matt Chapman contract, which is roughly 26 a year. If you could defer some of that money, that might be able to bring it down to like 20 or 21 a year on the CBT. Because I've heard Cody talk about that. I think that's going to get patched up for the next collective bargaining agreement. Or what's the next agreement that has to take place, which is in 2027?
20 December 1st, 2026 it ends.
Okay. Yeah. So that's going to have to get patched up, but I'm pretty sure that if you defer money, that some of that deferred money doesn't go towards the CBT.
Yeah, you're right. You have to do it before, like you said, do it before they change the CBT. Hey guys, take a look at this and tell me, compare these two players. What do you think? Who's the I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question, but who's the better player there?
Just the guy on the left.
Yeah. Pretty substantially, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, the war's similar, the games are similar. Every hits over 200, homers similar, RBIs over 150, batting average is over 30. Base percentage is over 30, slugging percentage is over 20, OPS is over 50, OPS plus is over 10. Is that Bregman and Chapman?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I mean, so you could see why. See, Bregman turned down 156 from Houston because Houston was offering probably what he's worth. Chapman was an overpay. Chapman probably should have been somewhere around 4 years, 90 million, 22 and a half a year, right? For his production, 4 years. And then Bregman, because he's younger, a year younger, and he's more productive, you would think he would get the 6. And Houston saying, well, this is what we're offering. He turns it down because he thinks he's worth 200 million. Now he may be coming back to Houston trying to get that 6-year 156 because nobody's giving it. Nobody was giving Chapman a deal of more than 4 years had he walked this year. Had he tested free agency, Matt Chapman, you're going to tell me that Matt Chapman would have got 151 with Bregman as a free agent? Come on. There's no way.
He might still be a free agent. He'd probably still be a free agent right now.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
I think he would be. I don't think he would have had to, so the Giants way overpaid by offering. I'll bet you Boris saw Posey when he got into the picture and just said, this is going to be, like taking candy from a baby. His first negotiation, I'm going to say, we're 6 or no deal. We're walking 6 and no trade. And Posey's like, okay, let's or Farhan had most of the deal, the parameters of the deal wrapped up. It sounds like it was just the no trade clause that was the issue. Now, the no trade clause, you can get around that because when you're a crappy team and you got an opportunity to trade guys to get younger assets, all you have to do is go to that player and say, look, we've got an opportunity to trade you. Are you willing to accept it? and he'll say, well, I'll go to the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, whatever. Who's ever good, he's going to pick. He'll say, these are the 6-8 teams I'll accept a trade to, and that's it. So then you got to work a deal around that. So I just think this is a team that will, and we've talked about it over and over again, and I think we can, it's like beating a dead horse. Until they make some other moves, we're doing what Murph and Marcus are doing, trying to come up with some type of lineup. I definitely like your lineup, Bora, over what they put together. So I think we're on the right track. We'll see what happens. I have a feeling it's going to be, here's what I think, and then we'll close with this. Tell me if you agree or disagree. I think this is going to be Melvin's opening day lineup. Wade, Adames, Lee, Chapman, 4th. 5th, I think he's going with Yaz. 6th, I think he will, mark this down, guys. 6th, he will go, what am I missing?
Bailey.
I think Bailey's going to be further down. Oh, who'd I have 5th? Yaz. I think he goes 6th, Ramos. 7th, I think he goes Fitzgerald. 8th, he goes Wilmer as the DH. And 9th, he puts Bailey.
That's a horrible lineup. That is such a bad
That's the
lineup.
opener at Houston, huh? That's the opener.
That's what I'm projecting. I think I pretty much got for sure the top 4.
You think Lee's batting 3rd?
I do.
That's a joke. I mean,
He's
what,
got
he's gonna hit
Adames
10
locked
homers.
He's got Adames locked into the 2 slot, and he thinks.
Yeah, at Cincinnati will be a $1.80 favorite, and we'll probably lose like 12-2.
Cincinnati's a good team. They could make a run.
Really good. And then we go to Houston for 4. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Cincinnati maybe still may work on trying to get Luis Robert, even though
because they were in on him.
Yeah.
They got Tito Francona in there.
Yeah,
so.
they got a solid
manager.
I look for Chicago and Cincinnati to duke that out in the West.
In Central.
In the Central.
I mean Central. Yeah, Central. I think it's in the West. I think it's a Giants division to lose. I think they've got this thing probably in a runaway freight train. I think the Dodgers will be a distant second. I think the Giants probably come up with anywhere between 101 and 108 wins. And I think, you're just probably looking at some MVP candidates and Lee and Chapman. This could be no. We will predict the records when we get close to the end of the spring. But right now, I've got them at about 78 and 84. Right now.
Dan, what? This is a 95 win team, guys. Come on.
That's right, Larry Bear. I'm sorry. I forgot. Dan did hit his head inside his truck again. Yeah, exactly, Mark. We talking about. Yeah, it's going to be a long season, guys. And you know what's going to make it longer? When the injuries start happening and you find out there's just zero depth. Have you looked at
there will be injuries. There will be injuries.
There will be injuries. And if they happen to your best players, look out. So,
hey, Dan, one thing I wanted to bring up with Bora too, when we first started this about when free agency was about 2 months ago, there were 3 teams that had problems. Us, where we needed to improve, the Blue Jays, they needed to improve, and the Chicago Cubs, that they said the Cubs weren't going to spend any more money. They were going to stay put. Toronto, very quietly, got a better team. They do got a big problem with free agency. The Cubs have really improved themselves because they took chances. And then you have the Giants, where literally, I'll bring up the great Def Leppard song, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And every day when the Giants make a move, it's a mystery because it's either a crumb or we're cutting more payroll. But really, why? Why are we cutting payroll? The Giants are a huge, huge, huge market. And, especially with the A's leaving town, it's a golden opportunity to start taking steps to be dominating Northern California. And we're just not. I mean, even the A's had a better year in the offseason than us, which is embarrassing. If I worked for the Giants, I'd be embarrassed, So I'll just leave it this way. Robert. Giants won't take care of business because, Robert, you said when Buster was in charge, we're only going to be bigger, better. We're going to have the best pitching staff. Believe in Buster. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe, actually, to tell you the truth, not one person that works for the Giants, and that's either the beat writers, KMBR, the commercial leader, or yourself, Robert. All you guys should be fired because none of you guys have done anything to make the fans a product better for the fans. You've made it worse, and it's only going to get worse. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, I was just thinking of doing something, but I think we'll do it another night. I was going to try and patch in another crew in here, but we'll do something crazy like that some other night. But guys, that's enough for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We do appreciate you being part of NorCal Sports Network. Better, right up there, BETR. You have to join Better, guys. It's a lot of fun. Put in the promo code. It's the daily fantasy app for NorCal Sports Network. Go ahead and download in the description of the link. Click on the link and it'll take you right to the NCSN promo page, or go to the Better BETR app on your Android or Apple device. Download the app and then put in the promo code NCSN for a $250 deposit match. That's right, $250 deposit match. Lou put in $100. I put in $100. So I've got $100 extra dollars to play with free. So and I think they don't let you get that until you go through your first 100, right, Lou?
Yeah, and they gave away a free pick today because one of the girls that works for Better did this amazing thing where she took a football from like about 15 yards away and she threw it and hit a speed bag. And you got a free pick if you were a member today. So
there you go. So go ahead. You actually do get a free pick when you sign up with NorCal Sports Network. So remember the promo code NCSN. All right, guys. I think that does it for us. We got anything else to add to this tonight?
I'm all out. I'm good.
All out. Good, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Check out our videos. We got one coming out tomorrow. Tell you what, we're doing a video on the Giants, the Dodgers B team. If the Dodgers split up their teams, would they be better than the Giants? That's just a little tease. That'll be coming out tomorrow. We'll probably have one maybe coming out. I may do one on maybe Bor and I on Fernando Tatis becoming a Giant. Not likely, but if you want to get aggressive, Padres may be doing a fire sale at some point. So thanks again, guys. We will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We really do appreciate it.